In this short video, I'm going to show you how to use the passive infrared sensor with your Arduino Uno microcontroller. Now this sensor is a cheap passive infrared sensor. I think it's in most cases under $2 and it's easy to couple to your Arduino. I'm going to give you the code, I'm going to show you the circuit, everything that you need to know. Now you can buy the sensor from your favorite electronic shop. It may be from Amazon, wherever, like I've said, quite cheap. Here you can see 24 Rand, that's less than $2. Let's have a look at some of the specs. You will see it will operate from 5 to 20 volts. So the 5 volt of the Arduino will be adequate to power it. Only 50 microamps for standby current. The angle of detection is 110 degrees. That's quite wide. And it can detect objects or movement in infrared up to 7 meters away. It's very small size and it weighs only 25 grams. Now let's have a look at the pin out. You'll see there's a ground pin out that will go to the ground of your Arduino. You have a VCC that will go to the 5 volt of your Arduino, and then you'll have a digital output pin. That digital output pin will become high if movement is detected. Then there's two other things that's important. If you look at the back of your little module, you'll find that there's two variable resistors there. The one will set the sensitivity of the passive infrared. So if you want it more sensitive to pick up maybe smaller movements or smaller objects, infrared objects moving, then you can set the sensitivity, and you can also set the delay time. Now the delay time, if it picks up something, it will keep that pin high for a certain amount of time. That time you can set with this variable resistor at the back. Another thing that you can change is if it triggers on a low or a high. And there's a little selector pin at the back that you can just change. You can leave it standard for this project, and we'll talk about that just now. The rest of the electronic components, nothing that we need to worry about. Let's move on to the code. Now the code is extremely simple. Let me quickly show you. So we define our variables, LED on pin number 13. Now that's a built-in LED. So the Arduino Uno has got a built-in LED on pin 13. So we don't need an external LED to switch on and off. We can use the internal one. Then we put our passive infrared sensor on pin number 2. It's a digital input. Pin number 2, don't put it on pin number 1 or 0, because if you program, you need to remove those wires and put them back. So pin number 2, 3, 4, you can use any one of the other digital I/O pins. And then the input from the passive infrared sensor is a Boolean value. So we're going to say initially it's low. Alright, then in our setup part, and guys, remember the setup part always runs only once, and then you go into your main loop. So in our setup, we say that pin mode, and see how logical this is. Pin mode, the LED is equal to output. So it's an output device, so that's why we define it as an output. In pin mode, the passive infrared, of course, is an input. We get the value from the passive infrared, so it's an input. And our serial begin is just a communication for our communication to our PC screen, because we're going to write to the PC screen. Alright, so in our main loop, there's two functions that we call. Very simple functions, and it's a good way of programming. It's good practice to write in functions. So in our main loop, two things happen. We go and have a look if the passive is triggered or not with the PIR, the passive infrared function. You can give this any name that you like, but passive infrared function, that's what this stands for. And then LED function. So after we know that there's a intruder detected, then we can switch on the LED. So the first function reads the passive, and the second function just gives an output on the LED. So let's have a quick look at the two functions. And the passive infrared function, you will see it's very simple. It's only one line. It say in is equal to digital read passive infrared. So we just read that digital pin to see if it's a high or if it's a low. Then we go to our second function, our LED function. And the LED function works like this. If in, that we've read in just now in the previous function, but if that in is a high, then we do the following. In these brackets, you can see the two brackets. Digital write LED high. So we're going to make that pin number 13 high, and that will switch on the LED. And then serial print line intruder detected. So we're going to print that to the screen, and then we're going to wait for 0.1 of a second. Now, if this is not true, if in is not high, if an intruder is not detected, then we do the else part. The else part, again, very easy and logical. Digital write LED low. And then we're going to write to the screen, serial print line, intruder gone. So the intruder is not there anymore if you're not detected anymore with your passive infrared. And then we're going to delay for 0.2 of a second. You can change these delays as you like, as it makes sense in your project. So that's the complete program. So it's as easy as that. What we do then, we compile it, and you'll see that it compiled correctly without any errors. Let's build the circuit quickly and see if it's working. So it's extremely easy to build the circuit. We're just going to use 3 female to male wires, and we'll take our passive infrared. I'm going to take my purple wire, put it to VCC. I'm going to take my blue wire and put it to the output, digital output, and then I'm taking my green wire as the ground wire. Then on the Arduino, our purple wire again go to our 5 volt. There's our 5 volt pin. Our green wire goes to our ground pin. There's a ground pin. And then our blue wire to digital input 0, 1, 2. And we'll just put it in there. So I'm just going to set it up here for testing. Let's do it like that. And now we can couple our USB cable. Alright, let's upload it to the board. So make sure that it's Uno that we're using, and we're on COM port 10. So we can do our upload, and you see it's compiling correctly and it's uploaded to the board. Now let's open our serial monitor in order for us to see what's going on. And you can see printed to the screen, intruder gone. That correlates with what we say. Intruder gone if our input is, of course, low. If it's high, it will be intruder detected. So let me test this. I'm just going to put my hand in front of the infrared sensor. And there you can see immediately intruder detected on the screen. So this is then a simple passive infrared sensor. What you can do now is download the code. The link to the code is in the description of this video, and you can easily do this project. You can change it. Please, in the comments, if you've got any questions, put them there and we can discuss it. Also tell me where you're from and what your project is about. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next project.